Welcome to How's Your E-Presence? This show is produced by E-Presence, and I am your host, Mark Galvin. I am laughing because off the screen I can see our guest, Chris Williams, playing the drums. So he and I were both playing the drums. Chris, you couldn't see me. Good to see me. I love that. So as you can tell, I'm pretty excited about our guest today, but we'll get to him in a second. What do we do here on How's Your E-Presence? We like to help you do something better. So as business people, we're always trying to find a way that we can make a little extra money, do something a little smarter. We are interested in providing those answers for you. So glad you are here. If there's anything you want to learn about business, go check out our YouTube channel. We've got lots of how-to videos sitting there. Hit that subscribe button on the other side. Hit that subscribe button wherever you are, because that way, when we go live, you get a notification and you can join us and throw a question. And I will be thrilled to ask that, to throw that question to our guest. What are we going to talk about today? So we're going to talk about scaling coaching into a profitable venture. So if you are a coach and you'd like to learn how we can do coaching better, we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about also how to sell high-ticket masterminds. Isn't that interesting? And then prospect and selling. So remember, we do an hour-long show now, and so we'll get in the back half of the show about prospect and selling. And what's the priority? How do you balance that? We'll get into all those great things. So today's show is fantastic. We have a great guest for you. His name is Chris Williams, and he's with Group Coach Nation. He is the father of 5 kids. So he is busy. He's somebody who understands how to prioritize things. He is interested in exploring world communities and trying his hand at adventures like shark diving, ice climbing, running ultra marathons, and riding electric skateboards. This guy is somebody that you're going to love to enjoy this our chat with. He works with entrepreneurial and business experts, speakers, coaches, and leaders, helping them market, monetize, and lead their own high-ticket mastermind programs. This is someone that understands that there are ways that you can leverage your knowledge and make money on that knowledge. Now, not only do you want to make money on that knowledge, but you can also help people. So we love this, that we'll be able to learn how we can use our knowledge to help others. Just a reminder, we always want you to ask questions. So if you have a question, just slap it right there in the chat box, and I will serve that up to our guests, Mr. Williams. So very excited about that. I think that's all I got for the intro of the show. Let's see if we can find Chris and bring him on. Where is he? There he is.
What's up, guys?
Welcome. How are you, Chris?
It's so good to be here, Mark, and Mark followers. Oh my gosh. Like when you have a show host like Mark, who I'm a huge fan of Mark. So when you have a guy like Mark who's like, ask me questions in the comments on YouTube or wherever you find this content, and we'll answer them next time we do that. Like, that's so unique, because it means like you can actually get your answers. You know how it is, Mark? Like, we learn so much, but it's so hard to like connect the dots from I learned this to making it real in my life. I think it's so cool you do that.
Well, the thing is, you and I both know, because once you do a little bit of training, it's the questions help you get to the granular piece that people really want answers on, right? Mm-hmm. You can go over a topic and it sounds really interesting, but how does that apply to me? Questions help you figure that out. That's how that applies to me. Mm-hmm. So thank you for promoting that, Chris. Ask a question wherever you are. Throw a question in here, because you're going to want to ask Chris a few questions, I have a feeling. So Chris, number one, where are you joining us from?
My padded cell in our home.
I was going to say, are those pads on the wall? Jeez.
I have a 15 by 15 foot studio built into our house, and pre like craziness the past few years, it was like, oh, that's cool. And then you live in here for a few years and you're like, I'm truly living in a padded cell.
Yeah, but
this is kind of scary now.
But I don't know. A padded cell probably was a good thing to have. I'm just saying.
It kept everybody safe, me included. It was really great.
You could literally bounce off the walls. Oh my God.
When you got 5 kids, you build a studio like this just for the quiet. Like, you just run in, close the door, and everything goes away.
Well, you do have 5 kids. So it's got to be a little noisy at times. I'm just guessing. Yes?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And 5 boys?
2 boys, 3 girls, and a dog. And I think Blue, our lab, I think he's the biggest defender when it comes to just pushing the decibel limits in the house.
Well, so what are their ages? What's the youngest and the oldest?
Man, they're growing up, buddy. We got a 15-year-old to a
Oh,
21-year-old.
awesome.
So they're all 6.5 years apart. We packed them in there, and it's kind of crazy right now because they're all like free and doing cool stuff. But because we love to travel, like when we were traveling early on when they were younger, like it's a lot of work. But once you can travel with teenagers and college students, because our trips are typically like 4 to 6 weeks long. So once you
Wow.
can travel with kids like that, we could lose a kid in London and I'm sure they could find their way to Greece. Like they got this, and they can make their own sandwiches, and they can pay their own bills. Like it's starting to
That
work.
is really cool. That is so, so cool. Are you really sure you want to lose a kid and see if you can meet them in Greece? I'm just asking. Now the 20, the oldest is 21, right?
21,
I'd be
yeah.
okay with that. But the 15-year-old, I'd have my fingers crossed. Saying,
Yeah, okay, no, she crushes it. She
oh,
rocks it.
that's
She
awesome.
knows how to do it. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I'd be, what was that Home Alone series, right? That kid can
Yeah.
handle it, right?
Oh, he's a boss for
But
sure.
oh, that's funny. All right. So, Chris, hit us between the eyes. Share with everybody because I have a feeling I kind of butchered at the beginning. What do you do, and why do you do it?
Mark, what we do is super simple. We teach experts how to build high ticket masterminds. So anybody with an expertise that like really owns that space, we help them build that high ticket top tier mastermind that all the experts that we follow online and are all goo about that they have.
Okay.
It's not a complicated process. It's just the thing that makes the most sense for people as they're really trying to be the expert in the world that they're living in.
Now, there's something that comes to mind here, and that is, um, so a mastermind is not just a training
Mhm.
program. This is a higher level, deep dive, really sharing expertise in something. How long is a mastermind typically? Is this a couple hour session, or are these things hours and they go over weeks? How does that work?
There's so many varieties of this. And you're right, a mastermind is not a group of 1,000 people that all have a private Facebook group and once a month Q&A calls with the host.
Right.
That's not a mastermind. That's an e-course with a live Q&A session. Okay.
Okay, good.
Call it what it is. A mastermind is a real collection of people going in the same direction, trying to accomplish the same goal with an expert who's already walked that path successfully.
Okay.
And that group has to be kind of contained to a size where that expert can actually get to everybody's needs and questions and answers and help everybody along at the same pace. That's super critical.
Got it. Now, this is interesting. So, what you're saying is that if I joined a mastermind, I can assume that I'm not going to be in a room with 300 people, that I'll be in an intimate group that allow me the opportunity to truly garner specific personal information from the mastermind or the coach.
Yeah, just like when we were talking about you doing Q&A in your videos, that allows people to actually say, "Oh, that makes sense," or had this aha moment when, let's say, one of their other 15 people in their cohort, when they ask a question like, "Oh my gosh, that just made sense. Hey, can I see how that applies to my business?" And right then, you get the clarity, strategy, and action points you need to make a change. Otherwise, you're just learning and you're wasting your time.
Interesting, interesting. So the there is so what you're telling me is there's a huge difference between, hey, just go learn something, right? Go online, and you and I both know LinkedIn has its own training platform where I can go in and watch videos. A mastermind, I'm going to walk away with real skills that are personalized and customized to me in real time. Is that a good way of putting it?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Okay.
And Mark, because many of us in our expertise, we're worried. I worry about this. I'm sure you do. Everybody I know who's any good at what they do worries that the people that they're teaching won't get the results that they want for them. Like,
Yep.
I
Yep.
want everybody that I work with to win. And many of you listening in right now, watching, your expertise when you're training people, if it's just over lunch or if it's like more formal, like a mastermind, when you're teaching them, You want them to win, not just so you get a good review or testimonial, but because you care about them. And a mastermind ensures that you get a chance to really make that process work for the person you're teaching. And yet it's way more efficient than one-on-one consulting.
Yeah. Oh, that's really cool. Very, very cool. Now, when you and I connected, I was really curious about this because we do some training here at ePresence. We are a full service social media agency, and we find that training is a great way to build credibility. When we get in front
Mhm.
of an audience and we start sharing things that they can do on their LinkedIn profile or on their Facebook page or in Twitter, and we show them how to do it, we build instant credibility. It's one of the reasons that we do the training. You take it a lot further and make that, what's a good word? You make that skill into something that's more profitable than just in creating a reoccurring business. I think that's
Mhm.
really interesting. So, what's the key to make this work? What's the key to go from, okay, you're in a training program, great, let's move this to a full on mastermind program? How would I go about that?
That's a good question. And let me just take this from like two different
Yep.
angles. One, how do you bring people up that value ladder? They're in the low ticket stuff that's less connection to the host to a higher ticket offer with more connection to the host in a private group. The other way around is backwards. I honestly think the value ladder is broken for a lot of people
Huh.
now. They have these low ticket things they're trying to push, and they're not getting the results they want. Their people aren't getting the transformation they want, and the business isn't getting the profitability it wants. So simply starting at the top of the value ladder, like just build the thing that attracts your most perfect ideal client
Mm,
and gives them the best transformation you could possibly ever give anyone, and put them in a small group of people where they get to have that same experience together. And all of a sudden, it just turns into gold for you and them. And what's cool about that, Mark, is even if you already have lower end products and services, like many of us do before we start this, you can just go straight to that top level. There's no stairs involved, and there's no reason there should be.
interesting. Is there a subject matter sweet spot in this? Like, and I look at coaches in general, and I would say a coach offers more general, probably not the right word, but a general idea of, hey, I'm going to make your life better. Let's just for the record, and
Mhm.
and I'm going to focus on how do you do social media really well, really specifically in a way that'll make you perform better as an individual on social. Is See, I think there could be a disconnect there, because I'm not going to help somebody out with their marriage or helping out
Mhm.
employees or growing all parts of the company. Is there ever any limitation to how people can step into that mastermind space?
There's categories. And I think the category is important to note. So, any of you who are listening and thinking, well, I'm an expert,
Right.
I could teach a mastermind. All right, let's break this down. So, categories. There's the health and wellness space, right? You're into mindset health. It could be physical health, mental health, supplements, whatever it may be that your expertise is in.
Okay.
That's one broad category. Another category is relational health,
Mm,
like healing with your spouse, your kids, your loved ones, your friends, your dating relationships, whatever. And then there's this category of business. You're saving people time or money, helping them build systems or teams,
right.
something like that. The easiest one to sell is the time and money category. All right. If you can help somebody figure out how to make more money in less time, it's cheating. It honestly is cheating. Okay. It's
Right.
just such an easy thing to sell.
Right.
If that's your space, you're going to crush this. If you're in the health and wellness space, here's the magic of this: you're selling the most valuable of all the things. Nobody, nobody wants broken relationships, and nobody wants broken personal health. But the thing is, we often struggle with monetizing that in a real way because all the personal health and wellness stuff and the relationship wellness is often priced super low. You got to find a way to sell that to your audience at a time when they are in the most demand for that fix,
Mm.
for that change.
Mm-hmm.
And and people who are in that space often miss that opportunity. They're selling to people who are thinking about being healthier, but really don't have any health problems. They're thinking about having great relationships with their 5 teenagers like I have in my house. But until you've had a teenager and you've been broken in that relationship, you don't realize how desperately you'll do anything to heal that relationship.
Huh.
And and there's a different timing set on when to make the approach and ask people into that offer.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Does that kind of be helpful for
Yeah,
you?
yeah.
Yeah.
So the categories I think are very helpful. Um, I look at that time and money category, and I can see why somebody could immediately attach value to that. But listen, I think that a relationship and learning how to be a great parent at the right time, right when the kids are young, is a great time to learn how to be a great parent and develop those relationships that they become even more potent over time is priceless, right? I mean, you can't
Mhm.
people are willing to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars sometimes to understand how can I do this specifically better and bring those issues that they personally have to a session to say, hey, tell me how this is what I do. What am I doing wrong? Which is difficult to it's difficult to get those answers. Let's be honest.
Yeah, it is.
So I hired a coach. I've hired a few coaches over my years in business, and I fired them all. And I wasn't sure if I ever got any value, the real value out of what I put into them. And maybe it was on me, right? I'm willing to say that. Maybe I didn't do the things that I should have done. But what I found from coaching in general is they were really good at holding me accountable. And so what I did
Mhm.
is I called my childhood best friend, and he's an executive with a bank. And I said, once a week, I want to get on the phone with each other. Here's my list of priorities. Give me your list of priorities. Let's hold each other accountable. And that works really well for me.
Mhm.
How would I find let's go time and money category. How would I find a time and money mastermind more valuable or effective? How about that? More effective than the regular ongoing business coach.
Oh, wow. This is such a softball,
Oh,
Mark.
no,
Thanks
it's
for
not.
just
I'm trying to
lobbing
find
it
a
over
hard
the
one.
plate. So here's the truth about this. Here's the data behind it and the way we're wired as humans. We do better in communities. Okay.
Oh,
It's been that way for a long, long time. No matter how you think the people on planet Earth got here, if it was two of us got dropped into a garden or a couple of us evolved over a couple billion years, it happened in a
yep.
community. No way around it. We're not loners. And I learned this, Mark, in the therapy space. So, as somebody who's been through a lot of therapy, healing from a pretty dark childhood to where I am now, I'm just fortunate enough, lucky enough, grateful enough, whatever, to be able to afford good help. So, I've done a lot of one-on-one therapy and group therapy. Here's what like made the light bulb go off in my head like 7 or 8 years ago. I've been going through one-on-one, and then finally I was convinced like I needed to start going to a weekly group meeting, like a 12-step type program for people recovering from difficult families. And and in a residential program on top of that, for a lot of dark trauma, suicidal stuff. All right. This is a deep podcast,
Yeah.
folks. You tuned in.
Wow.
We're going all the way down here.
welcome,
So
welcome to
well,
what is that? The dome, whatever.
yeah, no kidding. How's your e-presence live? Man, I did not expect that. So, okay, we all have our real stories, right? So, in the group sessions, I all of a sudden realized, oh my gosh, like I'm in a residential program and like day 3, day 7, whatever. I've gotten more out of this than I've gotten out of a year of weekly therapy sessions with amazing
Huh.
therapists. And in group sessions where you meet once a week for an hour in a group session, like a 12-step program, you get in those for 6 or 8 weeks. And you're like, oh my gosh, this is happening so fast. Like I'm healing, I'm changing, I'm finding a space here. And that gets to be really evident So I asked a couple of therapists who were like really well-researched therapists, written books, that kind of thing. The really good ones. Like, what's the deal here? Why is this changing so fast for me? Am I unusual? Like, oh no, this is extremely predictable. There's tons of research around it. Humans change 5 times faster in groups than they do with a one-on-one coach, consultant, or therapist in that case.
Wow.
So I started looking back at business models and people who had done this effectively over the generations. Masterminds aren't new, folks. They're not new at all. People have been doing this for thousands of years. And when you put a collection of people together who are all committed, all driven, and all so want to make the right changes happen, and you give them a leader to follow who's willing to get in the trenches with them, all of a sudden you start finding real, rapid life or business transformation. I now only, Mark, to answer your question just as personally as possible, I don't hire one-on-one coaching anymore. Yours truly, I only join masterminds if I want to learn something. I'm in a mastermind a year, sometimes 2, but always at least 1, and always very like intentional. Like, okay, here's the skill I want to learn in my business or my personal life. I find the coach, the author, the speaker, the consultant who's leading one, who has a great track record, good testimonials, reviews, like for real. I check them out, make sure they're real.
Right.
But I join masterminds. I no longer hire one-on-one coaches.
Wow. Well, that is really interesting. I actually,
Mhm.
I believe that we're all cave people still, right? We got all this technology
Yeah.
around us, but we are still wired like a group of people that sits inside a cave and
Mhm.
protects each other, fights the other tribes, if you will, in the area,
Yep.
and we connect with others, even those that are introverted who say, "I don't, I'm not motivated by personal interactions." They are still people that enjoy, the one-on-one interaction. Heck, you know what? How many people became mentally ill through
Mm.
the pandemic because they couldn't get out and see people and
Yeah, the
such things.
isolation was very damaging. Yeah.
I think it just really is proof, period, proof that we are not supposed to be isolated creatures. All right, that's
Mhm.
fascinating. That you may have thought that was a softball. I did not know that. So I'm glad I asked you the softball question and you spiked it, and it was very good. Thank you.
Good. I'm ready for a
You were
zinger,
ready
man.
for that,
Start
right?
sending them
I
over.
gotta find. I gotta work hard on another zinger here. All right. So where does all this come from? Did you make up the term mastermind? Were you the one that started this? Where did all that come from?
No, this has come from literally thousands of years of people doing this collectively. People politically have been doing this a long time. People in religions have been doing this a long time. People in business have been doing this a long time. You think of a, a president of a nation, a leader of a country, and their cabinet, as we would express that in the US.
Yeah.
That's truly, in many ways, a very action-oriented mastermind. It's not just a leadership group.
Okay.
They're involving each other in the same projects. And they're having, think about it. If you got the president of the United States sitting in an Oval Office and they're there with their cabinet, everybody's talking about the real things that are going on in the world, in the
Hmm.
market, in whatever they're talking about. And there's lots of aha moments, sharing of ideas, and they're capturing collective ideas faster than they ever could alone. And that collective experience is a key part of the mastermind. So in business, I think in the US and in Europe over the past 300-400 years, it was more common in really high-end business leaders. They would put masterminds together where they would bring in a speaker occasionally to speak on a topic, but it
Yep.
would be more of a collective group of just, hey, we're all here as equals, sharing concepts. What's working in your world? Let's see if we can make that work in my world also. Awesome model.
Fascinating.
That's become more, it's become more popularized with leaders saying, hey, so many of you are out there saying, I want to learn this thing. Let's put together a mastermind and I will walk you guys through the steps, the process, whatever that might be.
Fascinating. How long is a mastermind? I mean, what is there an average length of time for a mastermind? A couple of days or a week?
Yeah, I'd say 12 weeks to 12 months is pretty normal. You find
Oh,
some 6 or 8 week masterminds out
yep.
there that are really good masterminds. They're legit. You find some that are 12 months plus. But here's kind of the thing. Let's kind of help each of you that are listening in decide if you're going to have a mastermind, like how should you structure yours from a length standpoint. If you're teaching something very tactical and people want to like get that result as soon as possible, then shorter is actually better.
Okay.
Because I don't want to wait 6 months to get a result I could have gotten in 90 days. So how fast can you get me and my team through the learning process?
Right.
That's on the short side, tactical. If you're teaching something that's more of a long-term life pattern, or if your mastermind is more relationally driven, where you and a collective of other industry leaders are getting together to talk through problems on an ongoing basis and solve longer-term problem solution sets, then a longer term group makes a lot more sense, because nobody in that group thinks it's going to happen in one day. So
Right.
it needs to take the appropriate amount of time.
That's interesting. All right. I'm fascinated by all this, and I'm going crazy with notes over here. So
Good,
I can't
man.
write
This is
fast enough.
fun.
All right. So we like to cut our show in half, go 30 minutes and 30 minutes. And so this is the part, Chris, where we're going to take a break. You get an opportunity, like in 2.5 minutes, where you can go get a glass of water or something, because we're going to be back. We're going to take a quick break for 3 minutes or so, and then come back, and we've got more questions. And so for those of you watching, you're going to want to stick around, because we have some hard-hitting questions for Chris coming up here. And no more softballs, Chris. No more. It's not we're not going to be easy in the second half of the show. I'm just saying. But before we take a break, where can people find you?
Oh, super easy. groupcoachnation.com. Just Google Group Coach Nation or go to groupcoachnation.com and you'll find us. Chris Williams is my name. And we have everything there broken out so you can decide, like, if I want to start a mastermind or a group of some sort, am I a beginner, an advanced, or pro level person? Tons of free resources for you to start taking real action.
That is awesome. And what do you do ultimately? Group Coach Nation is to help people put together masterminds. So if I said, hey, I really want to do this, you could help me put that together?
Absolutely. You said you fired all your previous coaches, so I'm not sure about you, Mark, but yeah, everybody listening, that's what we do.
I love that. That's right. Well, cool. All right. Well, Chris, hang out. We'll be back with you in about 3 minutes. I can't wait to talk to you on the other half of the show here. For the rest of you folks, hey, listen, thanks for watching How's Your ePresence? Thanks for being here. We at ePresence are a full-service social media agency. If you would like to take advantage of some of the offerings that we have just by being a viewer of our show, go to e-pr.me/listener, and you can get a 5% discount on all of our services just by watching this show. This half show has been produced by our newest producer, Mackenzie Munzer. We love that she is helping us out. Thank you very much, Mackenzie. Hang out. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back, and we'll spend some more time with Chris Williams.